Hey guys, I'm Rival. Welcome to another educational video. Today we're going to be covering the topic of team fighting. Don't really think I've seen this done on the internet before, albeit I haven't really searched for it, but I thought it was an important topic to cover. I saw someone mention it in one of my comments. I got a bunch of likes and I was like, that would actually be a really good one to cover. So if you enjoy educational content like this, please feel free to leave a sub and like and all that good stuff, and some feedback would be really appreciated. I make content like this all the time. This is not a scripted video. This will be just me talking off the top of my head. So I hope I don't fumble over my words, digress, or cover the same things too much. Regardless, let's jump straight into the video. So the first topic we're going to be talking about is pre-objective. So pre-objective means in the last minute before the objective spawns, we want to be on the map deployed. We want to be getting things done in preempt for the objective. Usually there's a contest. We're going to have team fight's going to happen. Top lane is going to come down, mid lane is going to come down. It's going to get bloody. These fights end up being game winning or game losing. So to execute these properly, we need to understand objective control. So to start with, we always want to be, this will probably be covering, I would say, Dragon 2 onwards, by the way. Dragon 1 usually happens from like a bot lane gank into jungle ADC going up and taking Dragon 1. The map isn't broken yet. Top lane and mid lane are both still in their lanes farming, so it's not really as relevant. Top lane comes into the equation at around Dragon 2, same as mid lane as well. Probably mid lane can just rotate down, but top lane will start, and that's where the real hairy team fights start happening. So in preempt, the last minute, as a top laner and a mid laner especially, I'm going to talk about the top because I am a top laner, and this is kind of like my role that I guess I would specialize in. As a top laner in the last minute, I want to be creating an optimal path to the dragon. So that means taking some objectives off the map, getting a few things done before I just go and wander around dragon for 20 seconds and wait for it to spawn. So first things first, I'll probably like head down mid, get prio. I think, whoa, that's a fat arrow. Let's go a little bit skinnier. I'll head down mid, get prio here. Getting prio is one of the first things that you want to be doing when you approach a dragon. This applies to every champion. What it does is obviously it's going to force someone to answer, otherwise they're going to lose a way to the tower. The next thing is it also provides you with a line of vision. So if the enemies, let's say for example, the enemy minions are coming into you here, and you want to cross into this here, or you even want to go into here, it's obviously going to reveal that you're entering the jungle these ways. So that extra little line of vision is actually really important and can be quite awkward to deal with if you're not attending it. Either way, prio is the first thing that I get as a top laner. Next thing I want to be doing, obviously we don't want to be going ham with face checking, but for the most part as a top laner, your entire kind of existence is to allow your team to breathe. So depending on what you're playing, I'm going to use Malphite as an example here because he gives very direct, let's say like windows where the enemy can and can't enter around the champion. So let's say we're playing Malphite and we're standing right here. Their ADC can't really stand like here or here or here, or like, it just gets really tricky because Malphite just has this massive area of effect. Like he can just control so much space because he can just hard engage on basically anyone that missteps. So Malphite walking into this area first will allow your support, your ADC, everybody else to come in kind of behind you. What I feel like a lot of top laners don't know is how to position to allow your teammates to breathe. So if you're just off willy-nilly, let's say like doing Gromp, or we're doing blue, or we're just like farming bot, I guess, I don't know, like we're down here somewhere, it's just not correct because in the scope of the team fight, your teammates want to be able to move as well. So you have to be kind of like here because you're like, the fat arrows again. You're like the fat, you're like the beefy champion that's going to be protecting your team. They can't really waste too many cooldowns on you because you're not as high priority of a target. So you're the one that kind of like makes the team back off. Don't feel scared as a top laner if there's like a couple people here to like walk up and get in their face here. Like obviously don't just take free damage, but like it's going to make them have to back off a little bit. You'll see the effects of what I'm talking about when you play it. So things like a Renekton or like a Riven even that are looking to force and engage should be kind of in front of their team just dancing. You shouldn't be just like off willy-nilly because you're not giving your teammates any room to breathe. If you're just here and like your ADC's here and they've got a mid Silas, he's just going to walk straight at your ADC even if the support's here. Obviously that's not a whole ton of peel that he has to deal with. So if you're like standing here, obviously that just completely denies the Silas access from basically this entire area. So things to think of as a top laner are the ways to make or allow your teammates to function. So ways to make your teammates breathe. This can also be done as like a support as well. So a support, if you're playing like a Leona, for example, or a Braum, you can also be posturing in the same way to allow your ADC and mid laner room to operate, let's say. So as I say that, like room to breathe means it gives your team an area of effect to operate in. So the support's going to be able to move around you. They're going to be able to lay wards down because you're there kind of like machoing them off the objectives or off the vision pockets, let's say. So next off as a support, I'll conclude top lane. Once I have attended the objective as a top laner and I'm kind of like standing in their face, we have a bit of an objective control. I'll actually, depending on what champion I'm playing, if I'm playing like a Riven or something, I'll even start to like probably come down here and like look for a flank this way, or I'll jump into the pit and then go over the wall this way. All these kind of things, if you've ever played an ADC, right? Let's say, for example, your whole team's standing here. We've got the support, jungle's in like almost hitting dragon. The mid laner and the ADC are standing here. What A is that? And you're the top laner. So you could either be standing kind of like here and just posturing them into this area here, but they obviously know where you are. Either way, I would probably, if I'm playing like a Riven that can't actually, she's not the tankiest champion, but you do a lot of damage, I would probably be looking for a flank. So this was what I would have done before the start of the fight. I would have cleared out the vision pockets up here and just kind of like let myself know that there's no vision there, so I have the safety of entering. If you've ever played an ADC, let's say their ADC is standing right here. Let's say the ADC is standing right here, and their jungler is standing here, kind of like looking for the steal. Their mid lane is standing here, and let's say the support's probably like here, and their top lane is probably like up in their grill as well. If you're the Riven in this case, so I'll just draw a little triangle for her. If I'm the Riven in this case, and I like hop this wall, and I'm on the ADC, and your team sees this, there is so much panic in this area. Like the ADC is flashing, gale forcing, running away, spending traps if they're a jinx, they're illusioning, they're just a big amount of escape and panic happens. And then all of a sudden the jungle and mid are caught in this really weird spot where they're like, I have to either give up the objective, I have to leave frontlining the enemy team, I have to go and protect my ADC. As the Riven, if you just jump over here, you're creating so much space. Like this ADC has to just start running off to Narnia. They can't even just stay there anymore. They're like going up this way, which is even further from the objective. If you're the Riven, you don't have to all in here. Like it's not a bad window if you see the opportunity, go for it. Like for example, if mid and the jungle have already started fighting your team down here, you might as well go on for the ADC. But either way, let me just clear a few lines up. This is looking real confusing. I also probably should have done the opposing teams in different colors. I'll do that for the next one. Either way, you could even just like queue in and like make Jinx or make the Lucian, let's say for example, just panic and then just like head back this way. You've already caused so much space and so much disruption and so much panic. Like the enemy team's kind of in shambles now because their formation's been broken. That's kind of like half of your job's even just done here as like a disruptor or like as an assassin. You can do the same thing as like a Zed even, just looking for crazy flanks. I know these ADC players have seen like Fioras and Camille's and stuff just jump over walls and then all of a sudden they're on top of them. They start panicking, flashing, exhausting. Everything happens and it just falls into shambles really fast. So just simple flanks like this are actually pretty good. Even further so as well, let me just get rid of the Riven line. Even further so as well, if you're playing Riven, I'm using Riven as an example because I only play Riven, but I can apply for basically like most top laners that want to kill the ADC and not peel like a tank. You could even use the mid lane vision pocket. So let's say for example your ADC jungle supporter here and your mid laners here as well. If you're the top laner and you're kind of like standing here, as I do often as well, because like obviously the ADC has to walk up to sort of here to hit people in this direction. You could even loop back around here and go this way. Obviously, as a top, you probably want to bring across a sweeper or some pink wards to make sure that you have access to this bush here. And then once you see an opportunity, someone's overstepping, you can walk in and pinch this area here. So any champions is kind of like in this area here, your team's obviously going to move up as well because you're putting a lot of pressure on the backside. The only option they really have is to kind of flash over this wall, or otherwise it's just going to get really sticky really fast. So as a top laner, they're kind of like things I'm thinking of, just like ways, non-conventional ways I would say to approach team fights. I feel like as a top laner, if you're standing here, it's so easy for you just to get free hit. You're going to get blitz pulled into their team. Like it just gets really ugly really fast. So thinking about these kind of things actively when you're going to team fights. So flank routes like this. You can even go like this way if you wanted to go. Again, as I said before, going back up and around here. Even can probably go into here if you want to. It obviously doesn't provide the cover vision of the brush, but either way, something to consider. As a top laner, I would be thinking about that. So the two things that I want you to take away if you're a top laner is you have to create space for your teammates to breathe and to operate. So you're kind of like the one that shoves everyone out of their objective, their vision pockets. So you're kind of like the macho man, like looking to push the enemy team. You're not letting them pass a certain area because they get scared of you kind of thing. That allows your teammates to operate pretty good. So that's obviously from the red side of things. Next, we're going to be talking about, let's just go down the roles. So we'll go to jungler. Obviously, jungler's number one priority is the objective itself because the jungler has smite. So they want to be hitting the dragon. They're going to go for a contest, obviously. Jungle is probably one of the least, if not the least important in team fights, I would say, when it comes to a dragon fight. Yes, securing the objective is really big, but their only objective basically is just to fight the objective. Maybe depending on what champion you're playing, just go on a target that's near you. There's nothing really that's too focused around jungle. You should just play around where the rest of your teammates are set up, honestly. There's not too much. Obviously, you can help by bringing pinks and sweepers and wards and all that kind of thing. But depending on what champion you're playing, you're just going to be primarily trying to look and hit the dragon. Or you could even just play like a top laner number 2. So obviously just kind of like up in their face, just like kind of pushing them off the objective. If you're playing things like a Shyvana AP or something, you should have like ulted here and be like looking to E over the wall here. Or you could even just be in the pit here and then Eing in this direction. Obviously, we're still playing from blue to red side. But either way, just think about the way that your champion functions and play them accordingly. That's not really too much positioning to a jungle player, to be honest, because they have a very linear thing that they want to try and achieve here. Next, we're going to be going over mid lane. Now, mid laner is like a massive one. It's very niche and very caveated because the roles within mid lane champions are so diverse. So with top laners, we have like bruisers, fighters, tanks. That's kind of it for the most part. Sometimes there's like AoE mages like Kennen, but for the most part, at the moment, we just see bruisers and tanks. If you're a mid laner, let's say we're playing Ahri, right? Your immediate goal as a pick mage or a control mage is your entire kit succeeds so strong and your team fight setup is so strong with charm. So you should be having a sweeper brush and pink wards, clearing wards like this a minute early, wards like this a minute early, wards like this a minute early, wards like this a minute early. I have solo lost games to like the enemy team, or like solo won and lost games from the enemy team attended the objective late. There's like 2 or 3 of us in this brush with Ahri, and then their support Sona walks this way, and she's like, "Oh, I've got 45 seconds to go on ward just before dragon." Eats an Ahri Charm, and then she just dies, and all of a sudden it's 45, and we just get the dragon for free. Or like a really bad fight breaks out because the enemy team still contests the objective when it's a 4v5. Either way, having a control mage like Ahri that can pick off out of pockets of vision like that is really strong. Another one would be to consider, obviously, clearing this brush here, having vision here, so then someone comes and sweeps it, and then they're hitting this ward. You obviously just charm over the wall. That's a free kill. I can't even explain to you how many games I've won and lost with like an Ahri on my team or something with like a pick ability, like a Lissandra, just off forcing the enemy to make a mistake. Like if we're here a minute to 45 to 50 seconds early and we're warding here, 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 and here, we can see that which way everyone's going. We can even say if someone comes through this brush here, we obviously all posture down to this brush here and then look for the charm here. All of these kind of things can be set up before the team fight even starts. There also should be plenty of vision denial. So like even if an Ahri is sitting here, she can lead this way here. It doesn't even have to, I'm just using Ahri because it's the most linear, like charm. Like charm is a very linear spell or a pick CC that I can think of. You've got things like Oriult as well. You've even got like ZWE that can just like slow and get a lot of damage off, or like basically even one-shot someone if he hits 2 Qs. All that kind of thing. Mid laners as a control mage acting in this way should be kind of the same thing I guess you can even use for like Malphite. AP Malphite could just be sitting in this brush here and just like one-shotting people out of these brushes. All that kind of thing. If you're playing a control mage like that, definitely very prevalent. If you're playing an ADC like AP Kai'Sa, which is pretty prevalent at the moment, you want to be positioned behind the rest of your team. You literally never have to go in melee range because your W does all your damage, so you want to be sitting in spots like this. Probably wouldn't say spots like this because this entire area is kind of like a choke, and for Kai'Sa that doesn't have a dash, she's got like a movement. So I guess it all kind of counts as a dash, but you can't just like go over this wall if you need to. Probably wouldn't. Could even sit here if you're really confident about the vision, or probably back here and you're just consistently just firing things into here. As I said before, every mid lane champion is going to function differently. Obviously, you should know which one you're playing and the way that it succeeds. But for the most part, in objective control, champions like Ahri can really turn games, even if you're behind. Just make sure that you're on the map about a minute before and you're looking to set up vision. Think like within solo queue, how disorganized it is. You can really capitalize on the enemy team's disorganization and look to get these easy picks for easy objectives and easy won skirmishes and team fights. Next, we're going to be going into the ADC. So let's say, for example, we have we've got the top laner standing here, pushing everybody off, or the top laner over here threatening. We've got the mid laner here, casting skill shots in this direction, kind of pushing them off as well. We've got the support standing side by side with you, or probably even, I would say even more accurately, probably here next to the jungler, and the ADC is here. Let's say jungler's here. Whatever. Looks pretty accurate. Either way, as an ADC, you should be standing in the most open area that you possibly can. Because if you're standing next to a wall like this, and this is warded by the enemy, you're going to get jumped on over this wall, and there's nothing you can do about it. So standing in the most open area possible, you're going to see if people come from this way, you're going to see if people come from this way, you're going to see people come from this way. You're going to see where everyone comes from, and you have plenty of space to operate. Your support can obviously attend. No, not next to any wards, unless it's ward, not next to any walls, not next to any wards. Just make sure that you have yourself protected, obviously placing trinkets and stuff where you think you might get flanked. Just think in your head. You have to think like, in this position, if a Fiora rocks up and he's on me, am I going to die? Or if Zed or Kane jumps over the wall, am I going to die? Like, do I have a response or do I have an answer to this? If the answer is no, then move somewhere else that's going to make you safer. If the answer is yes, then stay where you are and make sure that support doesn't leave you if they're peel support. For the most part, you just have to peel back and protect your AD carry on a lot of champions. Honestly, that'll win you the team fight 9 times out of 10. I see so many top laners just like this set ulting people back here into their entire enemy team, and then the set just gets a 1v5 EW, and then he's like, oh my god, where's my team? And then he's just like, he just saw like what he thought was a sick ult. Whereas, for example, if the set was standing here and the ADC is here, and then a Scion ults into the set and the set gets hit by the ult, then the set ults the Scion out, as opposed to the set just ulting and not getting anything out of it. Like, set ult isn't really, it is an engage tool, but it's also a very, very effective peel tool as well. Covering so many different champions here. Either way, as an ADC, you should be standing in really open space and looking to free hit pretty much whatever you can. Obviously, if you're playing a champion like Jinx, your highest priority is just getting a reset, so hitting the lowest target and then just like looking to run away off that. All of that kind of thing. Next up, we're going to be talking about the support. So the support's probably got one of the deepest concepts to cover here because they're the champion that has no lanes to attend, so they should be already on the map putting vision down before the objective even spawns. We're going to be wanting to put pink wards here, probably even here, because you can do the pick thing that I spoke about before. Here's not a bad one, probably even specifically here. Here is a good one. Here, vision trinkets probably here and here. Pink ward's not too bad there, but either way. And then maybe even just kind of think about what the enemy team might like to do. So for example, if we're like, oh, they have a Zed, he might look to go here before the team fight even starts. As I often do when I'm on this side, I'll jump over this wall, and then once they're forced into the funnel up this way, I can like 3Q over this wall and then start a fight here. Either way, if you're like, oh, they might have a Zed, yes, this ward here is good. Maybe not this ward, there's usually a brush, there is a brush here, I think. A ward here, even just defensive wards. Just kind of like think about what the enemy team wants to do and what they're trying to accomplish, what they're trying to achieve. Because obviously, once you get in the head of your opponents, you can start to see the weaknesses in your own team compositions, positioning, and where you would like to fix that. So, as a support, the vision control is very, very important. Your positioning should obviously be very close to the ADC or just supporting another player on your team for the most part. Obviously, locking them down, peeling them, whatever you need to do. You can also kind of like, as I said before, if you're like a Leona, you can stand up here and threaten like an ult, like an R here, just EQing in whatever you want to do. It's all just kind of like, I don't play Leona, man. I've just seen her do it like multiple times. All the same kind of thing. If you're playing like Rakan, you'd be posturing for like an ult. You can either peel back onto your team if like a Kha'Zix jumps on your ADC, or you can just jump in and start charming everybody, and then you just win the team fight off that. Either way, that's kind of like the way that I would sort of think about or approach a team fight, specifically for Dragon. I don't really think there's too much more around Baron that you would consider. It's kind of just like the way you would enter the fight as well. So as a top laner, I'm probably going in through mid, going through here, or going up this way, and then kind of like probably looking to go around Baron, maybe even into here. As a top, I don't really walk through this way. That's supports probably has that job, I guess. Either way, there's not really too much with Baron that I have covered that it doesn't really apply to Dragon, I guess. They have the same vision pockets for the most part. I would say just also worry about, obviously, this Tri-Brush is a big flanker, this one here. And another thing we have to be worried about now is the Hextech portal. So make sure you have a ward probably here so you can see if someone takes a Hextech portal over here. Same thing with Dragon as well. I literally won a team fight because there was a Hextech portal here. I took it here, the ADC walked straight back into me, and then I could just cut off their entire team and you just wipe out team fights that way. I think of like new and innovative ways that you would succeed that way. But this has kind of just been like, I just had this idea and I want to make this video because it's just been an off the top of my head thoughts when I was team fighting yesterday. I just see so many mistakes in my games, and I hope this guide gives you guys some more innovative and creative ways to approach team fights and opens up a little bit more in terms of the way you should think about approaching a team fight. If you guys have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer in the comments. I know there's probably been a couple parts that I went over double twice, but as a non-scripted video, it's been quite difficult to just speak off the top of my head. But either way, I hope that offers some perspective, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.